Well, if no one's gonna show up, I might as well reveal it. Hello! As you can see here, I finally got a proper V-roid model. You might wonder, why did it take so long? Honestly, I had no idea how to create one. Like, I knew of one friend and he told me it was something you did in Blender. So that kind of like off-put me. Then I found out about V-roid Studio and realized, wait, this is actually quite easy. There was a bit of stuff I had to open up GIMP in order to do. For example, well, you might notice how this suit is red. The thing is, the original version of this suit is actually, well, black. Go ahead and make whatever Borat jokes you wanted. So I had to, like, use the fill tool. And I just realized that there's a spot that I missed right here. You know what? I can fix that later. And end of the day, it probably isn't worth mentioning. Another thing that I had was, well, I actually thought that there was something that was not filling in properly, no matter what I did when I was like filling in the jacket using Paint or GIMP. Turns out I just didn't have it properly adjusted. So yeah, this is the model I'm going to use from now on. Assuming, of course, I don't like join an agency, which I have been trying to do. Not going to mention any names since I don't want to jinx. Jinx myself. Just gonna wait a few more minutes to show if anyone else, to see if anyone else shows up. Oh. Now there's also a bit of an announcement about my next series. Like, basically, we're playing in Wolfenstein: The New Order. Why? Two reasons. First of all, it's not that long of a game, in meaning that I can actually just finish it without having to worry about it rolling over into next year, even if it takes. Yeah, 11 and a half hours. There is one scene I'm a bit concerned about. Namely, if you don't know, BJ Blazkowicz and Anya, his love interest in the games, actually have sex on the train scene, but it's not like Osei Fear 2, and honestly, I would be okay with just like hiding it on screen. Also, as you can see, I finally got a proper background. There is one thing I'm probably going to change about it. I'm starting to think maybe perhaps I should like stretch it a bit so that like the floor like, it looks more like I'm at the table as opposed to, like, standing on the floor. Let's see if I can't do that right now. We're getting there. Okay, this actually does look pretty good. Like, panels are a bit, the computer panels are a bit, it's stretched, but not that drastic. Plus, if you don't know, most maps are not exactly accurate. Like, for example, this one here doesn't show. Come to think of it, what is with the design of this map? I mean, I get that it's supposed to be mirrored, but it feels odd that they just cut off, like, all of Western Europe and the easternmost parts of North America. Or I guess westernmost parts. Before you ask, this background is not something I made, so I'm not going to take commissions. Okay, now this looks better. I'd say this looks like a reasonable size. So there are a few other changes I've decided to make. The first is, you may have noticed that I was still using my old PNG in my schedules. I've decided to retire it completely and, well, have basically switched over to either the streaming avatar, either this avatar, or the stuff I made using, what was the name? Picrew, I believe its name was. As I'm probably going to... The only thing I haven't really switched out is my cover photo on both Twitter and YouTube, which I have an idea for. It's just I'm still looking for someone, mainly because I want an artist who's good at drawing birds, but I haven't really been able to find one. And I don't mean like a bird avatar. I mean like actual birds. Specifically, what I had in mind was a double-headed eagle, but it wouldn't just be like a flag drawing. It would be like one if it was an actual bird. A bit on the cartoony side, but you get what I'm saying. I didn't really prepare much in the form of like lore or anything, so ooh. I know. How would I tell you guys the story about how I was created? And obviously I'm not talking about me, the person, but rather Andreas. We have to go back to the Cold War. Specifically, just let me look up the quote out in question, see if I can find a date attached to it. Specifically, we have to go to the early stages of the Cold War, 1949. That's this one quote reportedly, Stalin, I've only heard secondhand. There had been several assassination attempts on the Prime Minister of Yugoslavia, Joseph Tito Brand. If you don't know him, he's basically the guy who took over Yugoslavia and turned it into a communist state after World War II. Prior to that, Yugoslavia had actually been a monarchy, and it was arguably more aligned with the West, but well, because, among other things, the Chetniks, the party that was supporting the monarchy, wound up siding with the Germans. Just let me double check. Yeah. Basically what happened was, as Tito took over, and anyways, eventually Tito and Stalin, despite being communists, had a falling out, and Stalin, because, well, he did not want someone to disagree with him and spread a different version of communism, decided to Tito needed to get taken out. So he arranged assassination attempts on Joseph Tito Brand. However, all of them were caught, and then Tito wrote a letter to Stalin with the following quote: "Stop sending people to kill me. We've already captured 5 of them. If you don't stop sending killers, I'll send one to Moscow, and I won't have to send a second." Now, Stalin never did send any more assassins, and let's see here, when did he die? And 4 years after that quote, after that letter, I don't know the exact date, so I'll just say 4 years, since Stalin did die in 1953. Stalin died, well, 4 years afterwards, but the incident still floated in the back of Tito's mind. So he created a product to breed the one man in the event that another Soviet in the event another general secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. And that was actually the official title of the head of the union. And got any funny ideas. Specifically, he got DNA samples from 5 people from 7 people. of who had been recognized for their heroic deeds in... It's 3 from the West, 3 from the Warsaw Pact, West in this case refers to NATO, and 1 from Yugoslavia. I cannot mention who the 6 names are. Officially, it's classified on a need-to-know basis, and the agency has not given me clearance. Unofficially, I haven't decided yet. I will get back to you. But I can mention the official in the one Yugoslavian, or rather Serbian. And Milunka Savic. You might know her if you're familiar with the Sabaton song, Lady of the Dark. How this was accomplished was Soviet science that has kind of basically been lost. But because Tito passed away before he had the chance to really activate me, yes, if you can't tell, I'm the one man Tito originally planned. I just sat there in a vat until along came the Yugoslav Wars. During that war, or the agency, yes, that's the people I work for. If you can think of a better name, I would love to hear it. It found out about me and extracted me, trained me, and now I'm their finest agent. My main opposition is the organization. And what? A generically named agency deserves a generically named organization of villains to fight against. And odds are that if you can think of something that has altered world history since the 90s, I've had a hand in it. I cannot say what the specifics are, but you can probably think of something. So anyways, it's only been 21 minutes, so I do feel that it hasn't been long enough for me to, justify calling it a stream here. So let's actually play something, shall we? Specifically, let's actually play something that's gone viral while it's still relatively current. I would have actually, which I'm only doing because I actually found out the game in question had an English release date. Let's play Suika game, shall we? Let me adjust the Twitch. Excuse me for a second. apologies, I just wanted to see if there was a way to disable notifications. Doesn't look like there is, so let's get started. Kind of an accomplishment. Yeah, I'm still figuring out how to work out some of the kinks regarding this model, so don't be surprised if occasionally it goes to the surprise face. If I could actually get like bit redeems, I'd actually be okay with like people paying me money to like force that face, but I'm not monetized either on Twitch or YouTube, but I do plan on working to change that. In case you're curious as to why I didn't start with this earlier, I actually didn't know how you know about these. Like, I assumed that they were some... Well, in the sense, like, I didn't know you could actually make them. Or rather, how specifically. Like, there might have been, like, some... Yeah, now that I think about it, there was at least one or two people I knew who used roid avatars, but it was more, I just didn't know how. If I was to go back with the knowledge I have now, I probably would actually start with this from day one. But hey, at least I can say I've tried being a PNGTuber, so it wasn't all bad. Just realized I should probably move this since it's blocking my score. I should really set up a second one of these for... Of course, upon saying that, I now realize that I forgot that the score is displayed on top, so... I haven't watched a lot of Suika game streams, but I do know this is popular, so if the reason it's popular is because, well, people rage during it, you're going to be disappointed since I'm not someone who gets angry very easily, and I'm not just talking about lore-wise. IRL, I don't get angry unless this something I already want to do does not go my way. You know, there are times I've often wondered, could I have done stuff differently? For example, I've often wondered if I'd found out about Bitcoin when it was first coming out, if I could I have like actually made a killing if I'd invested from day one? Or for example, if I'd just found out about VTubing when it first started off, if I had actually started, would I have actually hit it big? But, on the flip side, I then realized it could be a really good thing that I didn't go down that path. For example, with Bitcoin, I could have panicked and sold it at either a loss or only cut even. And with VTubing, well, it's possible that I would have never caught on. Or HoloLive, assuming that no other major English agencies came along, would have decided to go with someone else. If it seems like I'm not very talkative when I'm doing streams like this, it's because, well, I am a loner. I'm actually not very good when it comes to talking by myself. I'm a very awkward person. I do have a bit of a stutter. Honestly, I kind of feel that it was basically one of the ways I could get over my stutter, since if I want to succeed, I'd actually need to deal with it. I do think I've gotten a bit better, it's just I need to have more people constantly tune into my stuff. Which is why I've actually come up with some milestones that if I hit, I'll actually come up with other upgrades. Specifically, I'm thinking that once I actually gain the ability to make money off of my channel, that'll justify me hiring an editor to work on my streams. I'll buy a proper live 2D VTuber model when I hit a certain number of subscribers. Probably 5K, maybe 1K if I have a bunch of money lying around. Currently, I'm trying to focus on moving out. In fact, that's going to be my main goal. So do not be surprised if one day I come across, I say, that I'm moving and am canceling the stream, or if I only do a 5-minute stream, say, hey, guys, just to let you know, I'm going to be in the process of moving tomorrow, so no real stream today. Hey, but I'm just giving you a heads up. And no, I'm not going to announce, hey, I need you guys to send money to a GoFundMe. I've got a job that I work for 7:30 to 4, or I guess. It just doesn't feel right calling it a 9 to 5. One other thing I've actually seriously considered starting to do as a VTuber is, video essays. I say that because, I think that at the time where you could just, start streaming with a VTuber avatar and only play games and be successful is, long over. What I'm not sure about is what I want those essays to be about. I have a few ideas, but it's more what would be a good first one and what would be a good one for X number of subscribers or whatnot. I know that I don't have to, like, go... Oh, like, super... Or hide. Oh, hey, thanks. Still working out a few of the kinks, although more so related to it being specifically V-roid as opposed to... stuff on my end. So you might see, for example, that pop up over here now and then. Okay, I think that's a cantaloupe. Anyways, that's the one I've gotten the furthest on. I have actually played this before. I mainly did so because I wanted to do a test run to see if my Switch had enough space for it, and also just to see how well it performed. There was one thing I seriously considered doing beforehand, namely, well, the path in the New Order Last Days of Europe. But I want to actually do a proper series on that, so I decided against it. So, something I think that is like a week or two old or so that you might have heard of is this channel called Mama Max attempted to cancel my voice critical. And it was a really bad attempt. Well, I say attempted, but I'm not even sure what he was actually trying to do. Basically, if you don't know who Mama Max is, he's this channel that exposes predators. I'm not really sure what be familiar with his work, so if I misinterpret things, now you know. But basically, he had tried to reach out to Critical through Discord, and at the time when he tried to reach out, Critical was sick. I'm not sure if it was with COVID, but it was not really a time where Critical could really speak. So Mama Max made a video titled, "This is the greatest cancellation attempt of all time." Oh well. And Critical was in the thumbnail. But it was really unhinged. Now, this wasn't the only cancellation attempt that Critical faced. Let me double check. Oh yeah, there was this other YouTuber called Moo Kitty who tried to go after Critical, and well, her success this did not work because, well, he was it was something which was easy to misinterpret, but I could at least kind of understand where she was coming from. Mama Max didn't even have, like, a very solid ground. Like, in the case of Moo Kitty, what happened was, you're probably aware that Aiden Ross opened up the hub earlier this year, or on his kick stream, and Critical was very critical of it. When Critical was watching the Streamy Awards, I believe it was, an ad for Fansly came up, and Critical just laughed at it. Now, it wasn't a particularly explicit ad. Like, if you didn't know what Fansly was, you might have thought that it was something like creator appreciation app or something. I mean, I guess you could say that technically is true. But Critical just laughed. I interpreted it as him just being amused by the irony of the whole thing. Now, I do feel you could have actually criticized the Streamy Awards for not, like, having a family-friendly React stream where you wouldn't get ads for stuff like Fansly, but whatever. she tried to paint him... Blue Kitty tried to paint Critical as a hypocrite. And well, let's just say that Critical was able to survive, and I'm not going to watch any Moo Kitty videos. You know, I kind of wish that I'd like debuted this model during the whole Twitch meta last week, simply because I could have said, probably could have either made a joke title saying, stripping my PNG of its clothes only to reveal the existing model that I'm using right now. Or I could have alternatively said, a completely safe for work stream. That would have probably gone over at least decent. Like, if I can only imagine the number of people who would have taken screenshots of me in like the sea of Twitch e-girls participating in the meta. I would have been like some island. I do have to wonder if there were any male streamers who actually took advantage of that. I mean, I know that there are some who are basically taking advantage of the current meta to prove a point. Boogie, Tectone actually as well. Before you ask, I didn't actually witness those in person. Boogie I only found out about because of, well, what people in the replies to the announcement he was banned on streamer bans posted, and, well, Tectone I only know because of Asmongold reacting to it. I don't think any male VTubers did that. You know, on the topic of the Twitch meta, I think that the thing that was kind of telling about that it would have been a bad idea to do what, well, Marina and a few other, and one of her associates did, it was a bad idea, was because of who did not participate. Fifi and Project Melody, who probably would have been my first guesses for participating in that sort of thing if it was actually allowed, did not have streams that day. Well, they might have, but they didn't have nude streams. I need to go back and check their VODs. Still, you do have to wonder, or why Twitch didn't, like, have a video guide. Like, I'm pretty sure someone like, I don't know, a Moranth would have been more than happy to, like, help them produce a PSA about what isn't appropriate. Admittedly, a Moranth is already kind of controversial, so maybe not her specifically, but just, like, some big name that a lot of people would have paid attention to. It's kind of like how, for example, a while back when YouTube had that Happy Tree Friends copyright video, so people were criticizing them, and Mr. Enter, who I used to be a big fan of, but not so much anymore, just us like haven't really watched any of his recent content, suggested that they should have had PewDiePie be the one to walk people through. Like, that's something I don't get. Like, I'm pretty sure that there are big creators who would be willing to work for sites like YouTube and Twitch, if like asked to, if it means helping other people out in that case. On the topic of PewDiePie, you know what I would find absolutely hilarious if he did for one day? He has the opportunity to do the ultimate gaslighting of the internet. What he should do one day is just boot up, I don't know, Happy Wheels, and go back to the style of content he had before his current style. Like, you know, the whole bro fist and whatnot, and just pretend that he's always been making content like this. It's like he hasn't changed at all. Maybe do that for a few days, then just go back to his current style and just pretend nothing happened. I actually wasn't going to stream this at first until I found out it had an English release date. English release. Well, I guess technically it did have an English release date, but that's not what I meant to say. So I figured, hey, why not? I do have to wonder what the logic behind choosing the fruit rankings were. And also why they excluded certain fruits. I get not including in green grit, it's okay, fair enough, but it does feel odd that they don't have bananas. In fact, they could have just upped it to 12. They put like bananas in between, apple between one of the melons. Like, I think that's supposed to be honeydew, and like it should have been like a stage in between honeydew and apple. Nice. I guess I'll do one more orgamitis, then I'll think of something else. Oh, so I mentioned about Mama Max earlier. Well, if you're curious, Critical actually did address it, not in like a full-fledged video. He actually gave it less attention than Moo Kitty, even though Mama Max is bigger than Moo Kitty, and basically he pointed out how Mama Max is kind of having a double, is kind of acting like he's the most important thing. Like, for example, when the Sniper Wolf drama occurred, Mama Max was saying, "That's petty. The children are being exploited," which, first of all, you do know people can be concerned about two things at the same time. I mean, by that logic, why are you concerned about American children when Ukrainian children are suffering pain from a war? Or Palestinian children? See what I'm saying? You can be concerned about more than one thing. And it's not like this is some obscure issue like, say, Sikh separatism or whatnot. people are aware of child trafficking problems, and no one really sides with them. Well, no sane person does, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I could maybe understand, like, a post on Twitter, since, from what I understand, Mama Max was originally, like, trying to get Critical on for a collab or something. Saying, hey, Critical, you haven't responded. Is there any reason to my message? Is there any reason why? But it shouldn't have justified a whole cancellation video. Like, I'm all for calling out someone if they do bad things. I consider cancellation to be a nuclear option. And I'm not opposed to, like, giving my thoughts on someone going through a controversy if people want them to, or if alternatively want me to, or if people... or if I have something interesting to say. Although, oddly enough, sometimes not commenting has been a good idea. For example, I actually thought about commenting on the whole Super Mega controversy, but I forget what I ended up talking about on that stream, when it was first rush. Turns out it's actually Nick is Not Green, one of the main people covering the allegations against Super Mega, who had been, like, very critical. At best, did a very bad job of covering it. Like, in his video, he acts as if he never uses the term allegations, which I'm pretty sure could have made him liable if Super Mega had decided to take him to court. I mean, I don't think they'd care if I said those, if I referred to them as fact, and honestly, I do think that, well, there probably is some truth to what to the allegations against Super Mega said. It's not nearly as bad as people like Nick Is Not Green made them out to be. Like, I don't think the allegations against Matt and Ryan are particularly valid. It's just... well, to be fair, I don't know the exact specifics of what is and isn't true, so don't take my word for it. I'm just some nobody on the internet right now. Although, for the record, I do believe that we should at least get Super Mega back, since, well, it does look like their cancellation was premature. And the funny thing is that a lot of people have been going after Nick Is Not Green for his bad coverage. Like, Turkey Tom and, well, Shud Logic, you might remember him if you were paying attention to his feud with Dark Viper, or was very critical of the accusations of Lex Is Not Updog, which kicked off the whole controversy, and Turkey Tom and Destiny then came in, and then basically he brought attention to the flaws and holes in her accusations. I'm only going off of memory, so I will probably say something incorrect, so I'm just human. But even people like Ryan Beard, who I would say is nominally on Nick Is Not Green's side, has actually kind of started to question their in Nick's coverage, since, like, he was saying, wait, you're being very inconsistent, which I see as a fair criticism. Very reasonable. guess I can play one more game. Something I'm kind of surprised more people don't talk about. How homosexuality and LGBT rights were treated in the Soviet Union. I say this because, in case you're curious, what got me kind of interested in the topic is, well, actually this drama involving this YouTuber called PNGTubers. Basically, he would produce these, quite frankly, tasteless videos which were basically showing, like, characters dying. And I don't mean, like, in video games. Like, it wasn't, like, 1,000 Ways to Die. It was more like their final act, and it was honestly just very... I don't want to say torture porn, but it does... I'm having a hard time thinking of another word. Well, he got in trouble with this one... Well, because he also decided to be pretty transphobic towards this animator called Puppy-chan, who, well, later had controversies of their own. It's not a Puppy-chan defense, I'm just bringing this up as a framing device. And PNGTubers basically tried to say, hey, it's a cultural... LGBT rights not being accepted is kind of the cultural norm where I live. He's Estonian, and that actually got me curious. And what I found was Estonia is actually, at least in comparison to the other former members of the Soviet bloc, like, if you were to compare Estonia to Finland, it would be a different story, but Estonia is actually surprisingly tolerant of LGBT rights for a former Soviet state, because if you don't know, the Soviet Union actually criminalized homosexuality under Joseph Stalin. It was actually tolerated under Lenin, but not for the reason you're thinking. I'm not going to say Lenin has a secret gay lover. Rather, it's because, well, they tore up all the laws of the Russian Empire. And that included the law criminalizing homosexuality. But I haven't been able to find out anything on how the Soviet Union treated transgender individuals. And the funny thing is that there actually is at least one country I know of that was actually at least tolerant of them. Unfortunately, said country was Weimar Republic Germany, and well... In fact, the first gender... If I'm not mistaken, the first gender change in surgery was performed at the Institute for Sexual Science in Germany. Then, of course, Hitler came along, and, well... Because the Nazis hated gay people, well, a lot of the research that was done in the Institute for Sexual Science was lost. I do wonder how different things would have been if Magnus Hirschfeld had operated out of Switzerland. Like, I don't think that would be a big enough of, like, butterfly to cause a Nazi victory. I think after this game ends, I'm gonna end the stream and, well, I'm actually gonna screw around with some OBS filters. Since I do have a few ideas. Well, to be specific, I'll screw around with OBS filters in Prism Live. Wait, actually there is one other thing I could do. On second thought, I don't really have the setup for it, and I've also got my dinner right in front of me, so I'll save that what I had in mind for next Sunday. Reaction stream is normal. Anyways, if you tuned in, thanks. Tomorrow, I'll be doing an earlier stream than normal. At 1 as opposed to 6 because, well, I don't want to miss hanging out for this Christmas dinner as I tackle Wolfenstein: The New Order. Until then, I'm Andreas Gravel, VTuber, and I'll see you next assignment. Later.